With close to 500 runs being scored across 40 overs, both the innings of the T20 match, I felt bad not so much for the bowlers, not so much for the batsmen, wasn't feeling too happy for the batsmen, but whom I was really feeling sorry for were the cheerleaders. Because every time there was a 4 or a 6, they were asked to go out there and dance, and I think they pretty much danced their entire season worth of stuff in one game. So I really hope the cheerleaders of SRH get paid a little bit more than the others. Hello and welcome to the review of the second IPL T20 match, this time played at Hyderabad between Hyderabad and Rajasthan Royals. So there was a placard out there and a lot of noise around this thing. Ab ki baar 300 par, and I really thought it's going to happen. They got pretty close in the end, 280 or something, 280 change, which was pretty close enough. You could see how dejected and disappointed the Rajasthan Royals team was towards the end. It got to a point where they weren't even celebrating their wickets. So it almost felt like they gave up and they kind of lost the match in their minds around about the 15th or the 16th over of the Hyderabad batting itself. But you might feel that maybe Rajasthan called this upon themselves. Why do I say that? Number one, they won the toss. If history is anything to go by, if the philosophy of the SRH team is anything to go by, which you all know by now is pretty much hit, and keep hitting, and if that ground is anything to go by, it would make most sense for you to bat first and then put some scoreboard pressure on that batting lineup and then try to get a couple of quick wickets and then anything could have happened. But instead, for some strange reason, even with Rahul Dravid and Vikram Rathore at the helm, I'm surprised that they took this kind of a decision to bowl first. And when they did bowl, I'm not sure if we can actually analyze what went wrong. Because the only thing that comes to my mind is one word: bloodbath. It seemed like almost anything and everything that the Rajasthani bowlers were trying was not just not working, it was going for 4s and 6s. Travis initially Abhishek Sharma doing stuff that Abhishek Sharma does. Tikshana was the only one I thought with some sort of control over there with his guile, throwing a wider one out there, get him in caught it slips, and I think that also was against run of play. Had that ball gone a little bit to the a foot wider at the pace at which it was going, I don't know what it would definitely have been more than 300. Let me tell you that. But Travis Head has got a love affair with India and playing in India. So he is unimaginable. I mean, he's got this uncanny trait. He looks so out of shape the first 3-4 balls. You feel, okay, this is not his day. And then he just like switches on like a button. And it's not just one or two shots. It's like shot after shot is belligerent and disdain, utter disdain for both the bowler and the field placements. It's almost like you move a fielder from there and you move a fielder from long on, put him to long off, I'm going to hit it in long on. You move a fielder from long off, bring it up to mid off, I'm going to hit it in long off. It's almost like he is teasing the bowler and it's almost like he is making fun of the field placements. And then he's got that smirk about him, he's got that laugh about him and that air about him that not arrogant, but it's like kya karne wale ho types. And pretty much, I think by the time the first power play got over, I thought they're going to actually get 100 in the power play, but they felt close. I mean, I guess 10-15 runs short, but that was pretty crazy in itself, right? I know they got 100 versus Delhi the other time, but I missed that. But this time, it was quite something the way they were batting. I thought that the procession of batters who came in one after the other really kind of completely bought into that team motto that we are going to strike and we're going to strike hard and relentlessly and keep striking until we get to a particular score, which we don't know, but I know for sure it's going to be high enough that our bowling can defend that. And that was pretty much the motto, and you thought that everyone kind of bought into it, especially the number 3, Ishan Kishan. Now let's take a minute to talk about Ishan Kishan over here. One of the most talented batters out there. in the fray to become an India regular, scored a double century when he played for India, nonetheless, double century, then gets dropped. Circumstances were such, misunderstandings, politics, whatever you want to call it. He gets dropped from the team and gets dropped from the central list of contracts also. Gets all sorts of sanctions on him. People are saying he's not playing domestic cricket. People are saying he's going and training elsewhere. So he's in a really, really tough spot. And his home franchise, Mumbai, lets him go. Of course, he gets bought for a good price, 10C or something of that sort, which is very good. And then he comes as his new franchise. So if there was ever a point to prove, so point to prove is something that the Crickbus guys were talking about, and Ishan Kishan was first among them. So Ishan Kishan really had a point to prove with his innings over here, and boy, did he answer his critics. The celebration you saw when he got to his 100 wasn't that I got to 100. It was that, yes, you dropped me from the team, you removed my contract, you changed me, you thought I was indispensable, but guess what? I'm right here, and you can't stop this bat because this bat is going to do the scoring. All of his shots. I think he scored the century in 200 plus strike rate, if I'm not wrong. And if you are actually playing in a team that has the likes of Abhishek Sharma, Travis Head, Heinrich Klaassen, and you are the guy who scored better at a faster clip and more runs than all of them, then you've done something seriously good. So I can't really analyze what worked or what didn't work because the game was so fast. It was just really hard to analyze. But I think one thing for sure that struck out to me is the only bowler who was successful, I mean, moderately speaking, because of the fact that everyone went for so many runs, was Sandeep Sharma. Now, why was he successful? I think we have to kind of pay attention to that. And therein lies the key in bowling to Hyderabad and on the Hyderabad pitch. It was off-pace bowling. It was short of a length balls. It was clever bowling. It was using the wide ball properly. It was making the batsman reach out of his arc. By the way, all these were bowling traits that were shown by Sunrisers Hyderabad later on when they came on to bowl also. There were so many balls that SRH was bowling that was borderline wides, that was almost given or not given a wide. That was a way in which they were able to keep the ball away from the swinging arc of the batsman. Something which I felt the RR guys completely missed, especially Jofra Archer. You really had to feel sad for him. He was getting ransacked. I mean, every ball he bowled was just getting pummeled, not just punished. It was disappearing, and it almost felt like, he was basically in a corner right from the second or the third over. And had he been any other player, I don't think they would have given 4 overs to him. But because of him being a marquee player, with the kind of price tag they paid for him, he had to finish his quota of 4 overs. And towards the end of 4 overs, when he put that huge beamer of a no ball to start off his 4th over, you really felt that Jofra Archer was, if given a choice, he would not have wanted to be here, playing this match, getting smacked this way. But he went for something like 75 or 80 runs, not 80, but maybe 75 to 80 runs, something of that vicinity over there. And they really took him to the cleaners. It wasn't just 1 or 2 batsmen. It was almost as if every single batter out there was really hitting him. One guy who stood out among all the batters, despite all the power shots that were played, was Nitish Reddy. Nitish Reddy is a local boy, Hyderabad boy, Telugu boy, much like myself. So I really had my eyes on him. You can remember his heroics from the not so successful, but the heroics from the Australian tour that just happened. Clean shots. Very, very clean shots. Intelligent shots. So not only were the shots clean, they were very intelligent, beautiful running between the wickets. Of course, he perished in the pursuit of fast runs, but Nitish Reddy was definitely spot on today. I think the other batsman whom you have to give credit for is Heinrich Klaassen. Heinrich Klaassen, agreed, it might not have been the most number of runs, but Heinrich Klaassen was the costliest retention. So definitely there was a lot of pressure on him. And the kind of shots he played, I mean, I don't know if there's any other batter in world cricket out there who can play those kind of shots. They were slow balls bowled at 120, 130 that he was able to muscle away for a 6. Not even on the leg side. Okay, you'd imagine that a right-handed batsman was able to use the weight of his body, to pull it on the on the leg side. But this was on the off side. This was over the covers. Imagine hitting a slower ball over the covers for six, not just once or twice, repeatedly. So you have to credit the SRH batsmen, that mentality that they had, that we are going to do this, we're going to pummel the daylights out of the bowling and get to a score that is undefeatable, definitely worked in their regard. And the bowling, like I said, when they were under so much pressure, they just caved in. I thought the length, not the line, but the lengths were all wrong. They were too short, and sometimes even the line, they were too wide. And that's exactly what gave them that freedom. When you saw a pitch map of the RR bowling, Rajasthani bowling, it was all over the place. Now you could say, yes, you had to do that in order to defend yourself because you were going for so many runs. But also what was very clear is that maybe there wasn't that pakka plan that this is what we're going to do for this particular player. Sometimes you'd feel that that plan was there and maybe they weren't sticking to it. But that's what I felt, is that they came under so much pressure that they weren't able to execute whatever plans they had. Talking about the Rajasthan batting and the Sunrisers bowling, now you thought that if Sunrisers were to bowl on this kind of a pitch, what would have been the outcome? I'll say that the difference between the two sides was two players and two specific players, although in the last over, one of these players went for a lot of runs. Adam Zampa, and most importantly, Harshal Patel. So when Harshal Patel was picked in the auction with Sunrisers, you knew they picked him for a reason. Hyderabad is an absolute carnage to bowlers, and you need bowlers who are very, very wily, very crafty and very intelligent, and got a great slower ball, that dipping ball, that wide ball, that short bouncer, and that's exactly what Harshal did. So in a match where roughly 500 runs were scored, so you can imagine how many runs went over here. In a match where people are going for roughly 15 runs and over, this guy goes for something like 6 or 7 runs and over. I mean, that is the difference right there. Imagine so finally I think the Royals reached a score of 240. Now imagine if Harshal gave away 20 extra runs. You're talking about 260, and then the difference is what? Just 20 runs. So no matter how high the run chase was, the Royals actually came to very, very close striking distance of the final outcome. One guy who really stood out here was Dhruv Jurel. Now, I did not know Dhruv Jurel is capable of playing such good innings. I mean, it was amazing the kind of shots he was hitting, especially the shots he hit of none other than the world's most revered white ball bowler, captain of Australia, Pat Cummins. It was clean striking. Dhruv Jurel's shots were like a whiff of fresh air in paltry, across the line slogs that you see in T20 cricket, which is pretty much what everyone was doing. But Dhruv Jurel was sweet on the eyes. And the guy who really played well but kind of just petered out towards the last 10 balls of his innings was Sanju Samson. You always expect Sanju to have that class about him, that ability to just have the timing, and that's exactly what you saw. Now, one person who, for the first time, I'm at least hearing about him and I'm seeing him, I thought for a lot of time it was Shivam Dubey who was on the team, but I was convinced that he's not there. It's actually Shubham Dubey, and he also had some pretty clean, beautiful shots to be hit, especially of Pat Cummins, the 6 over long on, the 6 over covers, beautiful shots. Ultimately, I don't know if Rajasthan Royals will really go away feeling sad or unhappy about their performance. Scoring 240 in a 20-over game is no mean feat. Yes, I think the difference was they should have been a little bit tighter bowling, especially to Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma up front. And number two, they should have been a little bit tighter in their field. A couple of missed chances definitely cost them. And they should have targeted Harshal Patel a little bit more. Harshal Patel and Adam Zampa and Abhishek Sharma, the spinner, basically was the difference of that 30-40 extra runs that they needed. So it was a fantastic contest between bat and ball. No, it was a contest between bat and bat. And this contest was won by SRH. But hey, you know what? Chin ups Rajasthan Royal. You did very well. And you never know. With this kind of batting, you're probably going to win almost every single other game. Fantastic depth of batting from Rajasthan. I think that is something that really came out today.